and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I am going to be doing the second part of my New York travel guide with kids. I don't know if you saw my video last week, but that was the first part and I was talking more about the kind of really obvious tourist areas that you think of when you think about New York. So all in Manhattan, places like Top of the Rock, the World Trade Center Memorial and Times Square, Central Park, etc. I will link to that video below if you would like to go and watch it. And then today is part 2 where I'm going to be talking about still the touristy areas but perhaps the kind of lesser known obvious ones, so places like Chelsea and Little Italy, Chinatown, etc. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, and then next week I'm going to be doing the final video in my little kind of travel guides, which is more about the Brooklyn area of the city. If you are new to my channel, my name is Katie. I have 3 children and we absolutely love to travel as a family. We try and travel as much as we can within like the school holidays and things, and I post videos 3 times a week on a Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday, and I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. So yeah, next week is going to be the final part, but if you are kind of like a little bit of background, basically we went to New York a couple of weeks ago as a family, and it was one of those places that we weren't sure about whether we should go with young children. I have got a 7-year-old, 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, but I did so much research and planning before we went, and it turned out to be one of the best places we've ever been. It was one of our favourite holidays by far, and I thought I would just kind of share a few of the like little things that we enjoyed doing while we were there. Obviously there is just so much to do and we only kind of scratched the surface, but I thought it would be nice and it might be helpful if you are planning a trip to just share some of the things that we enjoyed doing. So this is part 2, and yeah, thank you for watching. One area that you have to visit is the Chinatown area of Manhattan. New York is just such a melting pot of different people and cultures, and I think it is really good for kids to experience all aspects of a city. While you're in Chinatown, you have to go to Igloo. Igloo make Eastern style waffles, which they then fill with ice cream and all sorts of different toppings. We had to queue a little bit and then we shared 2 between the 5 of us, but they were one of the most delicious things we have ever eaten. The big toppings at the top are called mochi, and they are a Japanese style rice cake which I thought tasted sweet and soft and chewy like a marshmallow. We sat and ate our ice creams in Columbus Square, which is directly opposite Igloo. Columbus Square is the hub of Chinatown, and we visited on a weekend and it was a really lovely atmosphere. We just sat for an hour or so and let the kids have a rest, and people watched. There were people playing music and people playing games, and it was just a really lovely way and a lovely place to spend an hour or so. But I really just recommend walking around Chinatown and taking it all in. Next up, really near Chinatown, is Little Italy, and again we went there for the exact same reasons, just to walk around and take in the atmosphere, listen to the music and just generally soak it all in. You can't go to Little Italy and not have a pizza, and we had heard that Ruby Rosa's was one of the best pizzas in the city. It definitely didn't disappoint. The pizzas were huge and really tasty. We had to queue a little bit for a table, but it was well worth it. It was such a yummy lunch and I really recommend going there if you are heading to Little Italy. Next up, the Chelsea area of the city. You have to go on the High Line. The High Line is a disused railway line where they have built an urban garden above the city, and it's a really lovely place to soak in the atmosphere. We ended up staying up here for a couple of hours, just walking along. I think it's about a mile from start to finish, but you don't have to walk the whole way. You can get down at any point, but it's just a really lovely place to sort of let the kids let off some steam, to sit and have an ice cream or a drink and just generally soak up the atmosphere. Plus you get great views of the city. While you're in Chelsea, really near to the High Line is Chelsea Market. This is a big disused warehouse that they have transformed into a place where there are lots of independent restaurants and shops, and it's just a really lovely place to grab a bite to eat. There's lots of kind of fast food vendors and it's just a really lovely place to visit. We were staying in the Battery Park area of the city first of all, and we had heard about Bubbies, which is based in Tribeca. Bubbies is apparently a place that's really good for family brunches, and we can definitely recommend it. The pancakes were probably one of the best things I have ever had, and they were really family friendly. There seemed to be less tourists and more locals, which I think is always a really good sign. And they also have a photo booth in the basement. It's one of those really traditional ones, which we loved going in and grabbing a few snaps as a memento for our holiday. But I really recommend Bubbies. It was really delicious and a really great place to have brunch. Next up, we just wandered around. We ended up kind of in the Soho area where we went to a place called Flower Shop, which I had seen on Instagram. Flower Shop is so cool inside, and they make really delicious rainbow style cakes and cake pops. They are quite expensive, but we shared this little one between all of us, and just look at it. It was absolutely amazing, so colourful, and such a really great place to go and take a few pictures in. So I really hope that you enjoyed the second kind of part of my little mini travel guide to New York with kids. I just massively recommend in all those kind of areas to have a loose plan, but just to wander around. We saw so much by just wandering around, taking kind of breaks when we needed to, because obviously we've got young children and they don't like walking too far too often, and just generally exploring. It was really great to just explore, to people watch, to see all the different sites, all the different cultures. Like, New York is just such a melting pot of different cultures and different experiences, and it's just so amazing just to walk around and see it all. But I will be back next week with my final part of my travel guides, which is the Brooklyn area. We found so much to do in Brooklyn. We stayed there for 3 nights and it was really good fun. And so, oh no, we stayed there for 4 nights actually. But yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Please leave me a comment or a question if you are thinking about going to New York and you want any advice, or I'd love to know if you've been to New York and what your favorite parts were. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.